There we go.
And welcome everybody to Sports Shorts Daily. Ronnie Rance alongside Tommy Krysan. TK coming to us on this Friday from Tremonti's Seafood and Meats and everything else, where their boiled crawfish season is in full effect right now. This weekend, we're coming to you from the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame studios and presented by LeBear's Casino, where this weekend you can go over to Barstool Sportsbook, get a great lunch with the family, see the new kind of, I don't want to say remodeled, but they've added all kinds of sports memorabilia and stuff like that to the Barstool Sportsbook inside LeBear's Casino. It is awesome. You definitely want to stop by and check it out. Today on Sports Shorts, we're going to talk about LSU baseball. The Tigers get a 10-run rule. Took them 8 innings. Thought they would have got it in 7. They were way up. But they got it done, saved an inning's worth of pitching, which, believe me, that makes a difference. They are short-staffed, so saving that 1 inning is a good thing for LSU. They won yesterday 16-6. It was an offensive explosion by the Tigers, who just absolutely swung the bat tremendously. Beloso, had a home run. He's hitting still over 400 this year. You thought maybe the fifth-year player would, take a step back or whatever. That's not the case. You also, had a grand slam by Joe Bear, a grand slam by Thompson, White off the wall with a double. All that said, Dylan Cruz went hitless, 0 for 2 with a couple of walks. He's now batting just a tick under 500. Dylan Cruz has been slumping, if you want to call it that, over the last 2 weeks. We'll see if he gets it turned around this weekend. But unbelievable performance. The Tigers win. Paul Skeens kind of had probably his worst performance of the year. Now, I say that, but yet he goes 6 innings, strikes out 13, only walks 1. Okay, if that's all you knew, you'd be like, what the hell are you talking about? Because, that's unbelievable. The guy has 104 strikeouts and 53 in the third innings this year. That is just ridiculous. That's like, Class B, Rusty Rugg, Louisiana, high school numbers. But yet, he gave up 4 runs, 5 runs, 4 earned. Gave up more hits than innings pitched. That was the first time that happened this year. But hey, he was due a little bit of a mulligan. I don't know if 13 punch-outs, 1 walk's a mulligan. But Paul Skeens gets a victory. The Tigers win. They move on to today. We're going to talk a little bit about this series. Congratulations to LSU Gymnastics. They are in the finals. It'll be LSU, Florida, Oklahoma, who's the perennial favorite to win another national championship, and Utah. That's the Final Four. It'll be Saturday on ABC, right around 2 o'clock or so. Let me bring in Tommy real quick, TK. LSU baseball yesterday. You watched the game. I was there. I'll be calling the games today and tomorrow on ESPN+. Your reaction to what you saw from Game 1 against a good Kentucky team, a Kentucky team that last Sunday – Saturday or Sunday, I think it was before Saturday's game, Kentucky's RPI was number 1 in the country.
Well, and they had a doubleheader Sunday, so they pitched off last night. They threw a guy that had transferred from Missouri that hadn't started a game yet this year and only had a handful of innings. And you could kind of tell they left him in a little longer, trying to hope he would, get a pop-up or get out of something. But LSU just erupted. The home run by, the grand slam by Thompson, Joe Bear. Hey, look, I got a pro tip for guys when you're watching on TV, guys and girls. Watch the batter's reaction. You'll know if it's in the bleachers a lot quicker than you think. Because when Joe Bear hit that, I was looking at him, I knew the ball was gone. It wasn't going to be one of those, is it long enough or whatever. And then on Paul Skeens, I thought he struggled with his command, but he only walked 1 guy. Okay, so, that wouldn't say you're struggling with your command. But, and even the announcer, Chris Burke, pointed out that he maybe didn't have his A-plus stuff. And then he kept striking people out, and, he was powerful. Now, the bad part of the night, late in the game, Gavin Dugas diving to his right on a base hit to center. Looked like, to me, may have separated his shoulder. It may have popped out. He was writhing around in pain. And then, of course, he walked off, seemingly okay. It's his right shoulder, from all I could tell. And we have not gotten an official report from LSU. I don't think he'll be in the lineup tonight. That'll be something you'll figure out during the day since you're calling the game. So, that guy's been on fire. He's got many clutch hits, the timely hitting stuff. So let's hope he's not out for long if that's the case.
I kind of disagree a little bit with you, Tommy, on that injury because I watched the replay a few times as well. I saw him moving around a little bit after the game. His right, he did like a Superman dive, basically. He had the gloves on the left hand and in the right arm is what we're talking about. He kind of did like a Superman dive, stretching and landed, but he landed flat. He didn't land on the shoulder where you would have like a fracture, or he didn't land like, some sort of awkward with an elbow bent where it might be a separate. I think he just strained it, quite honestly. I think it was more of a reach and a stretch, and there was a strain there. He seemed to me like it didn't, and obviously we'll find out tonight, it didn't seem to me like it was either a separation or a dislocation. I think it's more of a stretch, strain type of deal. But no, look, Dylan Cruz, the MVP. Tommy White's been everything, a first-team All-American. He's been everything that, as advertised. But Gavin Dugas is the heart and soul, leader. If there was a heart and soul award for this team, it'd be him. Fifth-year senior from Louisiana. Means a lot for him to put on that purple and gold. He's going to live in this state the rest of his life. I don't think Gavin Dugas is a major leaguer per se, although wouldn't shock me if he had a long pro career, and that meaning minor league. But he has been just super clutch. He's been a leadoff guy in a team that really doesn't use a traditional leadoff type guy. He's been in that leadoff spot. He's been super clutch. Everybody else is getting the attention, and yet he comes through when they need it the most. And then shown some value this year, Tom. He's done an admirable job at second base. He's not going to make you, think of Ryan Sandberg or somebody over there at second, but he's fine. He's good enough. He's not going to hurt you playing second base over there. And now he's got value for the professional ranks as far as being an infielder and an outfielder. You get a guy who can be a utility type player. So let's hope he's maybe this weekend. I mean, I would think seeing him in a uniform this weekend seems unlikely. The fact that he walked off the field and he held his arm close to his body and all that kind of stuff. But if anybody takes a shot and a day's rest and then comes back on Saturday, it'd be him.
I agree. He's a tough kid. And he's had some other injuries throughout his career at LSU that he has always fought through it, worked through it, and got himself back in the lineup, back on the field. So I don't think he plays tonight. I don't know that. We'll know that tonight. But if anybody's going to bounce back quickly, I would think it would be him.
So the Tigers win yesterday, dominant fashion. Kentucky went with the plan that I think a lot of people should do against LSU, unless you're just blessed to be Vanderbilt or something, and that is just throw backwards. Don't burn your number one against Paul Skeens and LSU at home. Like let's try to play for 2 out of 3 and get one. Let's not burn our ace, and that's what they did.
Yeah, because they're going to throw their ace tonight and their number 2 guy tomorrow. So, that'll be a challenge. But LSU swinging the bat, and, every day at the ballpark's a new day. So we'll see if they can swing the bat again tonight.
But Ty Floyd will go on the mound today. There was a lot of talk about LSU playing 2 games today because it's expected there's going to be bad weather on Saturday. And that's kind of been the new trend, the new hot trend these days is to play doubleheaders and to play, Weather Channel and predict and move and all this kind of stuff, which I personally don't like. The fields these days, the LSU field drains tremendously. They got a tarp crew. I think you wait it out. I think you let people make plans. You as opposed to trying to juggle things around. And there was talk. Yeah, I mean, Bill Franquez thought, the TV crew thought, a lot of people thought they were going to play 2 games today, one at 1 and one at 6:30, or 6 o'clock or whatever. That is not the case. They're only going to play one at 6:30, and then they'll play tomorrow at noon. Now,
1 o'clock tomorrow.
Is it 1 o'clock tomorrow, Tommy?
Yes.
It is for sure?
Yes.
Okay.
Sir.
So here's the thing, though, is that, I'll be able to stake around for Sports Shorts a little bit longer than tomorrow. Sports Shorts Radio will be at Bruley Walk-On, so come by and see us. Speaking of Sports Shorts Radio tomorrow, we'll have Joel Davis on at 10:30 with Hunter McCann and Tommy and myself. And we'll also have Buzzy Heidel at 11 a.m. tomorrow. You don't want to miss it. We'll have our Masters golf report. He was a gallery guard all week on hole number 10 for 7 days at Augusta, and he's going to give us the inside scoop, the full behind-the-scenes report. That's tomorrow at 11 o'clock on Sports Shorts Radio. You can download the 104.5 app if you can't hear it in the Baton Rouge area. But getting back to the Tigers, they decided not to play 2 yesterday, and I'm told that was a Jay Johnson decision. And I think it's a good one, Tommy, because I said this to you last week. By LSU not playing that third game of the series in South Carolina, I count that as more of a win than a loss, because LSU is decimated right now on the mound. They don't know who they're going to pitch beyond the first game or two. It's a scuffle. It's a pitch and a hope. So until they can get that figured out, if you can only play a 2-game series, go for it. And so I think in this case, Jay's looking at it like we don't really have enough pitching to play doubleheader on Friday, quite frankly. They just don't. They played on Tuesday, threw a lot of people. Like, he wants that extra day's rest. And you know what? The worst-case scenario, Saturday gets rained out and LSU wins 2 this weekend, not a terrible thing. And I think that's the way he's thinking.
Well, I agree with you completely. And I think the fact that only Skeens and Cooper touched the mound last night is a plus for the depth of the staff. But that still would have been a problem trying to play 2 today. So, no, I think they're doing the right thing. And, Louisiana weather, it changes every 10 minutes. So it appears now that they may get the games in as scheduled.
I think they rolled the dice a little bit last night with Cooper, Tommy, who's one of their better relievers right now as far as, as far as what you think you can get. As far as what Cooper brings you is somebody that you sort of feel like you know what you're going to get out of him when he goes out there on the mound. They could have thrown down the line a little bit. They had a 10-run lead or 9-run lead or whatever it was when he came in the game. And he went 2 innings, which to me really – look, Cooper can come back and pitch today, but, if you can give him a day's rest and let him pitch on Saturday, he's going to be a lot better. I would have thought they could have gone down the line a little bit more and saved Cooper and pitched a Dutton or other people, But I think what it tells you is that they thought Cooper could come in there, throw 1 inning, and they would 10-run rule him, and he only have to throw 1. As it turned out, he threw 2, and he threw a decent amount of pitches.
28 pitches. I just looked it up. So, and he's one of the few that didn't throw Tuesday night. So
right.
I'm like you. If he don't have to go to him today, he'd be available tomorrow for another 25 to 30 pitches, if not more. It just depends on how he feels. Definitely Wes Johnson and Jay Johnson are juggling this staff here in the middle of April.
Look, Cooper last year, there were times he threw 3 times in a weekend in a weekend series. So he's capable of throwing a day if needed be. But in most of those times, though, he didn't throw 2 innings. He came in for a couple batters or to get him out of an inning. All right, so we move on. The Tigers today, 6:30. Ty Floyd on the mound going against Kentucky's ace. So remember, don't think of Kentucky as the team that lost last night by 10 runs. They're going to bounce back. This is a very good team. They're in a little bit of a funk. They've lost 3 of their last 4 in SEC play. But this is a team that got off to a blistering start, and they were number 1 in the RPI just literally 6 days ago. We move on to LSU women's gymnastics. Said this yesterday on the show, Tommy. The Tigers, they did it. They went on the road in the regional. They had a meet at Denver. They finished second in their meet. So Denver and LSU moved to the national championship in Fort Worth, Texas, or as Lynn Rowland likes to call it, Fort Worth. And so LSU wins their side. Florida finishes a very close second. Denver doesn't even make it to the finals. So you have LSU and Florida out of the SEC taking on the Death Star, the bad guys in Oklahoma. Oklahoma is just a beast in gymnastics. And then Utah, who's always very good. So it will be a heck of a Final Four. This is a tremendous accomplishment by LSU Gymnastics. They've been banged up a lot by injuries this year. For them to make it to the Final Four in Fort Worth, Texas, a lot of LSU fans will be there. It's only about a 6 or 7 hour drive from Baton Rouge. So this is going to be quite the interesting finals. And look, I have no expectation that LSU is going to win the national championship, but I didn't either when LSU women went to Dallas and won the national championship 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, that's a good point. And a lot of LSU alumni in the Fort Worth, Dallas Metroplex area. So they're going I flipped it on for a little bit yesterday on ESPN2 and saw that there were a lot of LSU fans there. and all that good stuff. So I wish them well. Jay Clark, you got to get some credit as the coach there.
Yeah, absolutely. Jay Clark, longtime assistant under Dee Bro, and got, she stepped down and he's just kept the torch going. The one thing I'll say about the new format, I like it. It used to be, what was it, Super Six?
Yeah, that's what it was called up until 2019.
Yeah, it used to be called the Super Six, and then in 2019 they went to the 8-team format. And what they did was, instead of 6 people going to the finals, 8 gymnastics teams go to the finals, and then they split them into 2 different pods of 4, and you got these little pool play type thing, and you have the meet with 4. But the big thing is you get a day off before the finals. And so it used to be you had you competed on a Friday and the finals were on a Saturday. Now you compete on a Thursday, you get that day off, and then you get to compete on Saturday. That's big. You're able to regroup, fix some little injuries and things, little nagging things that happen. I like it. It builds up drama, gets a little promotion for the finals as well, and that's why they're doing it. And they're carrying it. It'll be on ABC on Saturday afternoon. Want to talk a minute about Paul Skeens. Sort of, he needs his own topic. We are witnessing greatness, Tommy. And look, it was never more evident than last night at the box on a Thursday night game with a 6:00 start. The place was packed. And not to say that it wouldn't be crowded on a Thursday SEC game, but I think people realize what they're seeing. I think people realize, hey, if I've got tickets to the game this weekend and I only can go to one, I'm going to see when Paul Skeens pitches, because this guy, you're not going to see 98 to 101 miles an hour on the scoreboard like you do when he throws. You're not going to see a guy who strikes out 13 and walks 1 every single time out, seemingly. But that's what we're seeing. These numbers are ridiculous. This is against the best league in the country, Tommy. And obviously most of these 53 1/3 innings have not come in SEC play. This was his 5th start in SEC play. But a total of 53 1/3 innings this year. He has struck out 104. If you saw that on a high school stat sheet for a pitcher in high school, you'd be like, oh, wow, this guy's really good. He's doing this on college. That's why if he's not the first pick in the draft, something's wrong.
I agree with you. I mean, he's unbelievable. People need to, like you said, need to enjoy it. Get out to the park when he's throwing, because there's only a handful of more times he's going to throw at Alex Box Stadium. And, but I enjoy watching him work. He's got that body language of confidence. He's a bulldog. He's a competitor. I mean, he's trying everything to do to execute every pitch that's called. And, I mean, he's dominating. He's just better. I mean, he gave up a few hits. Kentucky got some good swings in last night, but Kentucky's a good team. I mean, they're a real good team. Much better today and tomorrow than they were last night when they pitched off. But no, I agree with you wholeheartedly. Get out there and watch Skeens and enjoy it, because you may not ever see a guy that dominant again. You might, but probably not.
Unfortunately, the record that people would love to see him chase, 202 strikeouts in a season, which was set by Ben McDonald in 1989. Ben threw a total of 152 1/3 innings. That means that Paul Skeens would have to throw 99 more innings, just to reach the number of innings Ben McDonald pitched in 1989. That's never going to happen. How can Paul Skeens get to 202 strikeouts when he only has 104 right now? Okay, here's the scenario. And look, the South Carolina outing last week where he only went 3, but yet he struck out 8, I believe. That could come back to hurt him a little bit, because he would have gone 5 or 6 and he'd have struck out 4 more guys or 5 more guys. But he's going to have 5 more starts, because this was start number 5 in the SEC. This is, again, all assuming he's healthy. He's going to have 5 more starts. He's going to have 1 start in the SEC tournament. He's going to have 1 start in a regional. We assume he's going to have 1 start in a super regional, and we assume he's going to have 1 start in Omaha. That's 9 starts. He's already had 9 starts to this point. He'll have at least 9 more starts, assuming everything goes according to plan and he stays healthy. Now, he could potentially get a 10th start if LSU makes it, deep into Omaha, makes it to a championship series or something like that. But assuming he's got 9 starts in him, which is very realistic, if he matches the 104 strikeouts he had in the 9 previous starts, then we'd be talking about 208 strikeouts and a new strikeout leader and 2/3 the innings that Ben McDonald did in 1989. So it's going to be very interesting to see because I think he's going to be all over that number. And because, keep in mind, early on in the season, he had, a couple starts where they were really, 5 innings when he could have gone 6 or 7. I think Tommy, he's got 50 more innings in him the rest of the year.
Well, and you would even think maybe he has 58 or 60 as he strengthens as the season goes on. We've always seen it where guys tend to throw more innings in May when it warms up and you're in better arm shape than you were in February when it's cold or March when it's cold. So, stay healthy, and he could bust that record up.
Well, we'll be tuning in tonight, take on Ty Floyd. All right, last thing before we go, Tommy, we weren't a winner last night, but the Rays were. You lost your bet, but the Rays are going for an MLB record today.
Well, the Rays starting pitcher went out in the 4th with an aggravated injury or something, and Boston went up 3-1. I'm like, hey, I might hit this money line thing. But then the Rays put up a real big crooked number in the bottom of the 5th, and that was that. So Toronto's plus 115 on the money line to beat them today. The game's in Toronto about 5:30 our time. So I missed on that one last night after hitting on the Thunder Wednesday. So I kind of took what I wanted, and now I lost it. So I'm right back where I was for the week. But we'll see. But they're tied with the Milwaukee Brewers for the best start in Major League Baseball history. And if they can win tonight, they set a record. And you can't. They always say you can't. Baseball. They're not going to go undefeated. They're not going to win every game. Sooner or later, they're going to have to lose. But man, they're getting the pitching, the defense, the hitting, all that good stuff.
The Brewers set the Major League record right in 1987, but yet
Correct.
They didn't win the World Series.
Right. And there's no guarantee that Tampa will even make the playoffs because the Yankees are pretty good. Toronto's pretty good in their division.
Yeah. By the way, the Minnesota Twins won the series that year over the St. Louis Cardinals. That was the coming out party of Kirby Puckett when the world saw what a great, great player.
Jack Morris.
He was. Well, Jack Morris was like 91 or 92. That was later. But because the Twins won 2 World Series in about a 5-year stretch there. But how about that? That year that the Brewers go 13-0 to start the season, they don't even make it to the World Series. So this is not indicative of what will happen. But I will say this: that the Rays right now are 5 games up in the division. 5 games up already in the division. And we're not even out the box yet. All right, for Tommy Krysan, I'm Ronnie Rance. Make sure you tune in tomorrow morning for more Sports Shorts Radio from 10 to noon. We'll be live at the Bruley Walk-Ons, and we'll have Buzzy Heidel on at 11 o'clock to talk Masters as he worked the Masters all week. We'll have Joel Davis joins us at 10:30. We'll talk a little NFL draft with Joel as well. LSU football spring game right around the corner. We'll talk some Tigers as well. Before we go, tell us about Tremonti's.
Hey, boiled crawfish at 3 o'clock today, 12 noon tomorrow. Barbecue ribs for lunch tomorrow. The lunch special today is fried catfish with crawfish etouffee poured over the top of it. They can handle all your catering needs, small job or big job. Stop in, get some wine or some bourbon and whiskey for the weekend. Tremonti's Meat and Seafood. Connect with them on Facebook and Instagram, and you'll be glad you did.
All right, for Tommy and Ronnie, we'll see you tomorrow. Please like and share this video, everybody. Have a great Friday.